Hi all, welcome to the first session of the Microsoft Fabric playlist. And in this session, I'm going to introduce you all to Microsoft Fabric platform. Microsoft Fabric is a new platform given by Microsoft. It is totally different from Azure, but you can relate it to like Power Platform or Microsoft 365. Like it's a different product altogether, but it is for data engineers, data scientists, data analysts, AI, all that stuff. Okay, so how did we reach to this point? So before going into Microsoft Fabric, I will just lay down kind of a timeline for data related or big data related changes that happened over the years in industry. So I think early 2010 or 2008 2009, we started using Hadoop clusters in industries like to perform map reduce, to perform hive queries and all. So those clusters were built on top of the in-house infrastructure. So companies used to procure the servers, then they used to install the Hadoop software. That Hadoop software was coming in multiple flavors like Hortonwork, then there was Cloudera, and I think Mapr was there. So these companies provided Hadoop distribution and manage the Hadoop distribution. So there was an open source Hadoop distribution also, but since it was open source, if there is kind of a problem that is encountered while working with that, there was no support. So companies like Hortonwork, Cloudera, and Mapr, they started distributing Hadoop software as a package, and then they give support on top of it. But the underlying infrastructure used to be created by the companies by procuring the servers. Then we shifted from that particular way of working on big data to cloud based infrastructure. So when I say cloud based infrastructure, I think since 2014 or 15, we started getting tools that were totally cloud dependent. So like Azure Data Factory, Azure Synapse Analytics, in Amazon Web Service, EMR, Redshift. These systems were kind of platform. So you don't have to worry about the infrastructure that is powering this platform, because that will be managed by AWS or Azure. But it will be easier for you to work on, because you don't have to provision and configure, maintain all the infrastructure that is required to run these systems. So it became a little more easier for us to create projects around data engineering or data science and deliver the value to industry. So this was the second step. Now here the problem came with the management of the cloud assets. So suppose in Azure, if you want to create a project, if you want to work on a project, you have to create multiple resources, then you have to integrate all of them together. You have to make sure that your security requirements are met. You have to make sure that your data redundancy and all those things, you have to manage that. So infrastructure is sorted, but again, these kind of things like security, your reliability, availability, all these will be managed by you. It's like you have to identify that how much security you want. You have to identify what should be the availability. Like if you go for Azure storage, what should be its redundancy? Should it be zone redundant storage or geo zone redundant storage or local redundant storage? All these things were still managed by you, like you have to decide. But there are a lot of companies which or a lot of projects where people don't want to invest in these things also. So people just want to get started with their work. They don't want to create the platform, they don't want to manage the platform. So there we enter Microsoft Fabric. So Microsoft Fabric is a software as a service. So Azure, you can say whatever uh, services we get for data engineering or data science or machine learning, most of them are platform as a service. Like you have a platform, you can use that platform to create your project, but you have to still manage your data, you have to manage your permissions, security, etc. But Microsoft Fabric gives all that in one common platform, and everything is integrated. So you don't have to provision anything, you just have to go into Microsoft Fabric, create your workspace, and you can get started with your work. So that is something that Microsoft is coming up. So this is the evolution of data engineering landscape. Since I am a data engineer, I'm just considering the data engineering point of view. So we started from the point where we have to create our own clusters, then run the softwares on them, to the point where we are getting everything inbuilt as a software as a service, and we can just get started with our work right away. We don't have to provision or configure anything. Okay. So if you want to go to Microsoft Fabric, you have to say app.fabric.microsoft.com, and it will land you to a Microsoft Fabric homepage. Okay, so this is the Microsoft Fabric homepage, and in order to access Microsoft Fabric, you have to get something like this. So you have to have a on Microsoft.com email ID. You cannot use your Outlook or Gmail account. So I will show you how I can, like, how you can get one. In order to get this kind of account, there are two ways. I think one is Microsoft Developer License that you can create in order to create on Microsoft.com account. I have created this using that, but since I have an Azure account, Azure portal, so I can use this also to create a user, and this user I can use with Microsoft Fabric. So I have already created a Fabric user and I'm using it, but still I just want to create one more. So you can just go to users, create a user. So I'm saying Fabric user 2. uh, Let me see. I am copying the password so that I can reset it. Okay, and I'm going to say it should look like Fabric user 2. So those who have Azure account, I think it is going to be very easy for them to access the uh, Fabric environment. Okay, so I think you have to give only the name that is going to be used for email ID, and everything else you should keep as it is. No need to change anything in properties, and then just go and create. It has created the user. Now I'm ready. So let me copy the email ID. I will need email ID first. So as you can see, it is giving me Chromastone. That is my username for this uh, Azure account. And after that, you have on Microsoft.com. So I'm going to use this and open an incognito tab and use the portal URL app.fabric.microsoft.com. Here I'm going to just paste it, and it is going to ask for the password. Since it's a like automatically generated password, we have to reset it. So let me reset it. So using a user from your Azure account, you can access. Okay, now if you go and check, you have a 60-day trial license. Okay, now using this 60-day trial license, you can use all these services that Fabric has, and it will not charge you anything. Okay, so right now if you see, there are 7 different I would say uh, different profiles that we can use. So if you are a data engineer, you will use maybe Data Factory as Synapse Data Engineer. If you are a data scientist, you will go with Synapse Data Science. If you are a data analyst, you will work with Power BI and Data Warehouse. If you want to create some real-time intelligence, so it's like event real-time, near real-time pipelines or near real-time monitoring systems, you can use real-time intelligence. And Data Activator is going to scan your data and provide you the knowledge about like what kind of like data it is, how to protect it. Like this is the new thing that I am seeing. So I have seen these 6 personas, 6 profiles. I'm going to go into details of each and every one, every profile, but right now just log into app.fabric.microsoft.com and just roam around in this portal, like what are the different things. But I'm just going to give you the architecture related to Microsoft Fabric, like how Microsoft Fabric is designed, so that you can get some idea. Okay, so those who are working into data domain, like as a data engineer or data scientist, they will get this architecture very easily, because it is actually built on a very common type of design that we follow when we create a data project. But those who are not working in data engineering or data science domain, they have to give a read, like they have to go on Google and read certain terms. Okay, so this is the architecture that Microsoft has given in the documentation for app fabric app. So what it is saying, that there is an underlying infrastructure that is going to handle your compute and storage, business model, security and governance, and SaaS product experience. Okay, on top of that, you have a single data foundation which is called as OneLake. So OneLake is a data lake house. So when I say data lake house, means it can store files, and it can store files in the format of delta table, which support ACID properties. So it's like they are files. Delta Lake files are like files, but they can be used as a table. So you can interact like you're interacting with a database table. Okay, and this particular storage layer is easily accessible from all the personas. So here there are 7 personas, and you can access the data stored in the data lake with any of these profiles. So you can access data from data factory, data engineering, data warehouse, data science, real-time intelligence, Power BI, and data activator. Okay, so this data lake is created on the workspace level. So right, like you have a Power BI workspace, you have a Fabric workspace, and in that workspace you have all these uh, applications or personas, and they store data in the data lakehouse, which is on the workspace level. So anything that is going to be stored is stored here, and anything can be accessed from these 7 personas. Now you can definitely provide permissions and limit the access based on the user who is trying to access it. But if it is not being restricted, anybody who is having access to the workspace and data lake can access it from any of these profiles. Okay, the infrastructure part is very, very hidden. You cannot access it because Microsoft manages it, and they have a way to charge you based on the tier that you are going to use for the infrastructure in Fabric. So there are different tiers, and based on that capacity you will be charged. Okay, we will talk about the tier also, but right now just know that much, that you are not going to be managing any infrastructure. Microsoft is going to manage it for you, and you just have to use this platform, software as a service platform, to upload your data in the data lake house and get started with your project. Okay, so this is how the Fabric has been designed. You have an infrastructure, and I am not very sure, but infrastructure is created on Azure only, based on my understanding, but it is not officially said. So like, just take it with a grain of salt. So the infrastructure is managed by Azure. On top of that, you have a storage layer which is called as OneLake. It's a data lake house, and on top of that you have different personas, and based on your persona, whether you are a data engineer or a ETL developer, or data warehouse engineer or SQL developer, you can choose any of the persona and get started with the work. Okay, so this was the first session. I hope you understood what is the Fabric, but let me just revise once. Fabric is a software as a service platform that has been provided by Microsoft in order to unify all the data related experiences into one common platform, and make the data engineering projects easy to start and easy to work with. So it's like, you don't have to manage your platform, you don't have to manage your infrastructure. You can just create your account, create a workspace, upload your data, and get started with your uh, data engineering or data science project. It's that simple. So anything and everything that you need for your work related to data is going to be in one single workspace. You can manage this workspace like you manage your Gmail account, and you can provide access to your team members and they can start working. So this is how the Fabric has been imagined. And now going forward from the session 2 onwards, we will dive deep into the different experiences of the fabric, like data engineering, data warehouse, and everything, and I'll show you more. Okay, but for sake of understanding, I hope you got what fabric is, and let's connect in the next session where we will go ahead and do some demo with the data engineering thing, and after that we will go ahead with the other personas as well. Okay, so see you in the next session. Thank you so much.